Hey guys, it's Josh with RPGamer. I'm here with Fernando Paiz, the executive producer of DDO. So let's take a look. What have you got for us?
Well, we've had a pretty huge summer here for DDO. We've just released our first major expansion, which is letting our players go from the world of Eberron, which is where our game started, to the Forgotten Realms for the first time. We are doing the same story, or a similar story anyway, to Wizards of the Coast and their Rise of the Underdark initiative. Our expansion is called Menece of the Underdark. It's all about Lolth and, of course, the Drow, who are the big baddies in the world of the Forgotten Realms. And they've been up to no good as usual. And they have a plot that actually pulls in the world of Eberron as well, because they end up creating a connection through the Demon Web, which is where Lolth's home domain is, to the world of Eberron. But it's pretty cool for our players because they get to follow her through the Demon Web, come out through the Underdark, and eventually emerge in the land of Faerun in a town called Eveningstar, and start a whole new campaign for our players there. So it's been a really huge release. It's got a ton of great new stuff. It's got the Druid class, which we've introduced for the first time, that you can see here behind me. The Druid is a pretty versatile class they're able to change their focus from moment to moment in battle with their wild shape ability. So they can switch into a wolf form, or they can switch into a bear form if they want to absorb a lot of damage, or wolf form deals out a lot of damage, or they can be an elemental form, which basically jacks up their magic in either fire or water elemental form. So it's a really cool new class. It's been a great experience for the players, and we're also going to epic levels for the first time for folks that know D&D. So we're going beyond level 20. We were based on the 3.5 rule set, so 20 was sort of the natural limit in our game for a long time, although it's not like 20 normal levels in an MMO.
Right, yeah.
We think of it like 4 or 5 times that number in terms of the content for a typical MMO. But we're going into all the way to epic level 25 now with our adventures in the Forgotten Realms. And that includes a whole new leveling system that we introduced called Epic Destinies, which is an all new trees of advancement, depending which destiny you choose, that has quite a diverse set of abilities and skills that you can choose for your character.
Cool. Well, with you expanding past level 20 into the Epic realm, will you be including any like Paragon classes or anything of that nature?
Well, what we did is we created our own version of that with the Epic Destinies. So that's, the Epic Destinies draw a little bit of inspiration from those kind of classes, but they're our own take on it. So while you're gaining epic levels, in parallel, you're advancing one of the Epic Destinies that are available in the game. These are things that draw from some of the old pen and paper for inspiration. So we have things like the legendary Dreadnought Destiny for martial fighters, or the Grandmaster of Flowers if you're a monk, or the Draconic Incarnation if you're more of a sorcerer or wizard type.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that are drawing inspiration from those kinds of things, but we did our own take on it that fits in our game.
Are you including any new races with the expansion?
No new races in the expansion, though we do have a pretty full complement of the D&D races at this point in time. Last year we introduced the half-orc and the half-elf, which were some of the last ones that we were missing, that the players had been really clamoring for. So at this point we're pretty close to filling out the most requested pantheon of races, but the Druid class was the big request, so we focused our energy there.
Cool. Now, since you're entering into Forgotten Realm, that's one of the most heavily documented worlds in D&D. How expansive is it going to be? How inclusive is it going to be in the Forgotten Realms?
Well, I think we always want to be able to tell our own stories for our heroes, where they're the ones making a difference. So we're not trying to rehash the existing storylines. At the same time, we work very closely with Wizards of the Coast to make sure that what we're doing is in alignment with the stories that they're telling and resonates with the stories that they're telling. So we've started to sort of stake out our own little portion of the world where we're going to use as our home base. We're in the town of Eveningstar, which is one of the original locales in the Forgotten Realms from way back when it was created by Ed Greenwood back in the day. And actually we've been able to work with him, which has been really great, to review our plans for the town and the map of the town, or even some of the work that we've done with Elminster and the parts that he plays in our story. We've been able to work with the guys at Wizards like Ed on that sort of stuff, which has been really fun. But we are taking places that hopefully feel iconic and feel like what you want the Forgotten Realms to look like, but we're going to be able to make some of our own stories there. So Eveningstar is a good example of that. In the Underdark, we go into the Underdark and we reach a city called Shindalrind, which is the Drow city of portals. So it's a place that's in the lore, it's known, but it hasn't been sort of overly done. So we get to tell some of our own stories there and how they fit into the adventures our players are going through.
Excellent. With the with I again, with the information, the characters that you've been talking about, will we be seeing any sort of cameos from Elminster or, and I hate to be that guy, Drist?
No, we don't have Drist in the game this time, but we do have Elminster. He plays an important part in our story. He is, of course, always a force battling the dark forces from the Underdark and so on. And he's one of the very first people we meet when we step into the demon web. We sort of face this huge Bevelith monster that's about to eat us, and then Elminster saves our hide right there. So that's our introduction to him. And he's always been an ally of Mystra, and our story here is about the Drow seeking a relic of Mystra called the Thread of the Weave. And that's why they've been attacking the once peaceful town of Eveningstar to acquire this powerful relic so that Lolth can further her quest to become goddess of magic. She believes she can assume Mystra's throne as goddess of magic, and getting this relic is a big part of her plan in our story. So our players have to thwart that, and the Drow will at some point get a hold of this relic, and then we chase them into the Underdark and eventually into the demon web to stop her plans.
That's cool. With the plan jumping that you're doing now, essentially at this point, are you ever going to expand into like the Spelljammer world or the Planescape world?
Not anytime too soon.
Okay.
Faerun is pretty rich environment, like you said, full of stories, full of locales. Even just the land of Cormyr, where we are using as our sort of home nation here, is so expansive and has such a richness of stories and locations that we're going to spend a little while filling out the quests there for our players and growing the world. We have these very big open wilderness zones like the forest that we were showing earlier or the Underdark that you're seeing here behind us. And what we want to do is really grow these expansive spaces so that you can feel how they're connected together and you get a sense of the world around you. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
With this expansion, are you adding anything to the social aspect, like the guild halls or anything of that nature?
Well, one of the great things that we were able to do for social features is that we added an auto-grouping feature. So now when you go into a quest, you can choose to leave it open as a public group, and players can then join you if they're playing the same quest, or you will join other players who started that quest just before you and left it open as a public group.
Nice.
So it's a nice, easy grouping for players that are going through that path. From there, I mean, we already have a very rich complement of social features. We have a great guild system where guilds can work together to advance, and they get these very cool airships in the world of Eberron that if you advance, you can get these really massive airships full of buffs and other things for your guild to store. We also have voice chat that's integrated into the game for free, and all kinds of other cool social features already. This is a game that's been live for a very long time, and we went free to play about 2.5 years ago, which has been a great success for the game. We've gotten tons and tons of people through, so we keep growing and adding to it. And even now, actually, you know, one of the great things with Turbine is that we have a great track record of delivering substantial product updates to our players. So even now, just 2 months after the expansion, we already released our first major update after the expansion, which is update 15, titled Song of Druid's Deep, and we introduced a new achievement system with that, which is a monster manual achievement system, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you a little bit of that, but basically you get to pull up a monster manual page that starts off blank, and the more monsters you defeat of a given type, the more you'll advance the deeds here, either for your character or for your account for that monster type, and you'll also end up making a catalog of all the different types of that monster that you defeated. So for example, in the spider realm, you can see all the 3D models of the types of spiders that we've defeated on this character documented in there. So it's a really nice way for players to just track their progress and all the things they've accomplished in the world, and learn a little something about the monsters too, where you get a little information about their stats or their weaknesses or where they can be found. And of course you can earn Turbine points, and even a few of these pages have creature companion pets that you can earn. So you can get a pet spider or a pet rust monster that'll follow you around if you defeat enough of them, which is no easy task with a rust monster. But everyone fears the rust monster because they eat your stuff.
That's excellent. So speaking on more of a business aspect, you were mentioning how the free-to-play model has been incredibly successful for Turbine. What sort of, have you integrated any new pay features with the new expansion? Or actually, the first question I should ask is how much is the expansion?
So the base price of the expansion is $30, though clever players might spot a sale here and then now that we're a little away from the expansion. but the base price is $30. So we did introduce the Druid class as a for-pay class, but we did give it for free to our VIP subscribers.
Okay.
So if you're a VIP, you don't have to buy that.
Right.
And then also we have the Monster Manual is a similar thing where the VIPs get it all for free, and actually free players and premium players will get the first couple volumes for free. But from then on, you can buy them a la carte in the store.
Okay.
But it's always a balance. You know, we don't want to overburden people with too many paid features.
Right, yeah.
That's not really the main point. The expansion is itself, of course, a big premium purchase, and that's enough probably for our players to focus on for a little while. But we keep adding creature companions and cosmetic things like that aren't so much gameplay impacting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and there's nice goodies you get with the expansion as well. Like if you buy the expansion, if you're not quite at level 20 yet and ready for the end game epic level stuff, you'll get a Tome of Learning, which is a permanent XP boost that'll get you to level 20 that much faster.
Oh, nice.
So there's things like that are built in, and you can buy those things a la carte in the store should you choose to.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, then the last thing I always ask people in all my interviews, sell me the game in 30 seconds.
All right, well, DDO is not your typical MMO. We are an action combat-based interpretation of the D&D rules. We have the richest level of character customization, bar none, of any MMO out there. I challenge you to find another one that has more rich customization. And I don't mean visually, I mean where it counts in terms of how your character plays, the abilities they have, their stats. You can customize everything there. You can multi-class, multiple heroic classes, and you can layer on any number of epic destinies in the end. And on top of all that, we have all the richness of stories from the D&D canon.
Excellent. All right, Fernando, well, thank you very much. It's been excellent, and I might have to get back into DDO. This looks really exciting.
Do check it out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.